Part 29. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 281. Chapter 281, the last one. But Xianxia didn't expect that after becoming his woman, she would also be a maid, and there were countless maids around him. Fortunately, she has experienced neither too many nor too few men, and with some tricks, she got to the point where she can serve him everywhere in a short period of time. There are 4 men standing behind. They can be identified as guards at a glance. One of them, Xianxia, also knows him. He is Xianxia, who is behind Xianxia. Although he was lucky enough to avoid that person, he was unlucky enough to enter the tiger's den. Fortunately, he is a man and is better than Xianxia, but he just became a bodyguard. He also used tricks to let his master see his strengths, so he obtained the title of bodyguard. Both of them have their own thoughts and methods, but both of them have been used by the loyalty mark. If they want to betray their master, their souls will disappear. Unless they can break through to the saint level, and others have clearly told them that when they break through to the saint level, they will be free. Before breaking through, they should do things obediently. If they do well, they will have more cultivation resources, and their cultivation will naturally increase. Quick. Xianxia didn't care about the training resources given to her. After all, her training resources were men with high cultivation levels. And Miao Nagano didn't care about training resources, because they couldn't provide him with the training resources he needed. However, the situation at this time could not be better for them. At least they have a place to live. The master is the son of the lord of the Musui continent. In the Musui continent, in addition to listening to their master, everyone else must look at it. They act with their faces. The 3 of them all looked at Fan Xianglou, but their master was obsessed with her beauty, and Miao Qiangjai had mixed emotions. After all, he was the first to fall in love with Fan Xianglou, but it was a pity that he was unlucky. He ended up in ruins in Tianqian continent. There is no hostility towards Yan Xianglou, only unwillingness and calculation that love cannot be achieved. The hostile gaze was on Xianxia. When she saw Yan Xianglou and Ji Zhozhong together and coming to the higher continent, her original pride was suddenly shattered. Obviously, although they both came to the higher continent, Yan Xianglou and Ji Zhozhong were in a much better situation than her. They did not fall into the fate of being slapped with the loyalty Xian mark. Their lives were pretty good. They could still live in Xiyun City. Entering the auction house is not something they can do easily when they are new here. Coupled with seeing Ji Zhozhong's gentle gaze and calm care for Yan Xianglou, she was so jealous that she wanted to rush out and kill Yan Xianglou now. But her experiences in the past few years have made her very clear that she must be calm and not act impulsively. Without anyone to support her, she can only rely on herself. Turning away from the master's obsessed gaze, Xianxia raised the corner of her mouth, and her fragrance fell. I don't believe that you can fight against my master when you are new here. If you fall into the same situation as me, I don't see how you can be proud. Ji Zhozhong, what will happen if the woman you love becomes someone else's? Are you in agony? That's all easy for you, I'm going to make your life worse than death. But the auction is going on now, and the master wants the 5 elements pearl. She can't disturb the master at this time, so she should wait until the auction is over and tell the master about Yan Xianglou's life experience and deeds. What Xianxia didn't know was that if she spoke out right now, she would still have a chance to plot against Yan Xianglou and Ji Zhozhong, and there would still be a chance after the auction. Ji Zhozhong had long been ready to leave. Because she sensed that someone was hostile to her, Yan Xianglou was no longer in a relaxed mood, and she was not so focused on watching the auction, although the items in the subsequent auction were more precious and the prices were higher. If she didn't want to see the 5 elements beads of the Earth system, she would have wanted to leave immediately. Ji Zhozhong noticed the ups and downs of her mood, and waited for a while before sending a message and asking, Why are you in a bad mood? Yan Xiangleo was a little surprised that Ji Zhong could even tell that she was in a bad mood. She felt that she was hiding very good. There is someone in the second room on the left who is hostile to me. Yan Xiangleo didn't hide it either. Ji Zhong paused after hearing this. He didn't expect anyone to be hostile to Yan Xiangleo. They didn't offend anyone. Even the person who stopped them yesterday morning wasn't hostile to Yan Xiangleo. He didn't go to see the room, but he secretly let Wuji out. He wanted to see who was hostile to his little girl. It's okay, let Wuji take a look, Ji Zhong said again. This is not the outside, don't let Wuji take risks. Yan Xiangleo thought that although Wuji was small, this was not outside, let alone in the forest. There was no place to hide, and she didn't want it to take risks. Besides, the room is very tight. Even if you can get in without restraint, you will be discovered immediately. Ji Zhong said, don't worry, Wuji is very clever. His best skill is hiding, and no one will find him. Don't let him enter the room, just wait to see who is inside. We always have to know who your opponent is. Yan Xiangleo felt relieved now. Since Ji Zhong said so, Wuji must have abilities that she didn't know about. She also wanted to know who was so hostile to her. The last auction item. At this time, the voice of the beautiful auctioneer rang again, and her voice was much more excited than before. The last item to be auctioned was an Earth-type 5-element bead, which was not something that the auctioneer could auction. Although the 5 elements pearl is not hers, it is an honor that no one else has to have it auctioned off by her and have close contact with the 5 elements pearl. So she was also very excited. Yan Xiangleo's attention was immediately attracted by these words, and she was finally about to see the 5-element earth beads. Then I saw a man wearing a snow-white robe with a light blue totem embroidered on it walking up. The entire auction house was suddenly silent, except for the sound of the man walking. Yan Xiangleo heard the person sitting in front say in silence, "Young Master Daqian, my God, it must be the 5 elements pearl." Yu Xiangleo was stunned. Is this man the young master of Daqian? He didn't look very old, but people in the higher continents had long lifespans, so people who were hundreds of years old looked very young. She was not sure about this person's age. Ji Zhong's eyes also fell on young Master Daqian. The aura on this man's body was indifferent and traceless, and his cultivation was very high, at least above the emperor level. He had a noble aura, obviously because he was born in a big family like Daqian, and he was young master. The family has a profound heritage, and the heirs he has cultivated are naturally extraordinary. Young Master Daqian walked to the auction table. The beautiful auctioneer immediately moved away and gave a salute. "I have met the young master." Young Master Daqian raised his hand, and the beautiful auctioneer stood up straight, standing one step behind young Master Daqian at the side of the table. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 282. Chapter 282 Auction Method. Young Master Daqian looked at everyone and said, "The last auction item is the Earth-type 5 elements pearl. Because it is too valuable, I personally brought it to you. Everyone should know the value of the 5 elements pearl. Even a city cannot be used to describe it. But no matter how expensive something is, it must have a price, but the spirit stone can no longer bear the value of the 5 elements pearl, so after discussing with my father, I decided." Everyone listening followed his words and their moods were up and down. When they heard young Master Daqian say that there is no need to trade with spirit stones, they also understood in their hearts that the value of the 5 elements pearl cannot be measured with spirit stones. They were also curious about them. The result of discussions between father and son. Although only a very small number of them, that is, those in the room, have the strength to take pictures of the 5 elements beads, they can still be curious. Young Master Daqian glanced at everyone present, and did not say the final decision after the father and son discussed it. Instead, he said, how to auction it will be discussed later. Let you take a look at the 5 elements pearl first to make sure it is genuine. I will tell you later conditions of auction. Xianxia's heart was beating fast. Although it was impossible for her to get the 5-element earth beads, she could still take a look. As soon as young Master Dakian finished speaking, he raised his hand, and 6 old men with strong auras appeared on the auction stage. The powerful pressure made everyone present feel suffocated. The pressure is only fleeting, just to let the people present know the strength of Dakian. Those of you who want to use the 5 elements pearl can do it, as long as you can beat these 6 people. This is for them to see. There are many such powerful people hidden in Dakian auction house. Young Master Dakian raised his hand, and a vermilion box appeared in his hand. Following his movements, everyone's breath became rapid. Although they tried their best to suppress it, they still couldn't help but be excited. As soon as the box was opened, the rich earth energy poured out, and everyone could see clearly the 5-element beads inside. An earth yellow bead lay inside. Xianxia's eyes were wide open. Based on her experience of getting 3 5-elements beads, this earth element 5-elements bead was indeed real. Zhizhong was stunned when he saw the earth type 5-element bead. Is this the 5-element bead? He also has a bead like this, but the color is different. It is golden and contains rich gold power. Could it be that his own one is also a 5-elements bead? Zhizhong was talking about the golden bead he got in the secret realm of Lingquan. At that time, he had no idea that the bead was actually a 5-element bead. He thought it was just a treasure that contained the power of gold. A bright light flashed across the phoenix eyes. In just a moment, the entire auction was filled with gold power. At this time, no one suspected that the 5-elements pearl was fake. Young Master Dakian closed the box. Although the 5-elements beads were isolated, the golden power emitted still permeated the auction house. People present who had Jin-type spiritual energy could not control themselves and began to absorb Jin-type spiritual energy. Xianxialuo and Zhizhong did not absorb it. Both of them have 5-system spiritual roots. It is not suitable for them to absorb a kind of spiritual energy alone. Most of the people who came today are people with earth spiritual roots, and some people have one of the 2 spiritual roots, that is earth. Therefore, they all covet the earth element 5-elements pearl, thinking in their hearts, it would be great if you can get it, and your cultivation will advance by leaps and bounds. It was almost time for young Master Dakian to meet. He put away the box containing the 5-elements beads and spoke again. Everyone has confirmed the authenticity of the 5-elements beads, so now I will tell you the conditions of the auction. As soon as he opened his mouth, everyone calmed down again. They all looked at young Master Dakian, waiting for the conditions he said. Earth-type 5-elements pearls are only auctioned in one way, and that is the god-level baby pill. It is more appropriate to exchange it for a god-level baby pill. Young Master Dakian finally stated his conditions. Everyone was stunned. No one expected that the conditions of the final auction were like this. Doesn't that mean that high-level alchemists are cheap? Young Master Dakian said again, if anyone here today has a god-level baby pill, the deal can be completed immediately. If not, the transaction will always count. As long as someone takes the god-level baby pill to the Dakian auction house in the inland southern continent, it can be exchanged. Of course, Dakian has the responsibility to keep the identity of the exchange person secret and safely send the person out of the southern continent. Young Master Dakian said nothing more after finishing his words. He waited to see everyone's reaction and mainly focused on the rooms of a few VIPs. There are a total of 5 god-level alchemists in the mainland, and all of them are in the hands of various forces without exception. This is why Dakian wants to use the 5-elements pearl in exchange. Without the 5-elements pearl, no family will be willing to trade a god-level baby pill with Dakian. Time passed little by little, and no one said anything, not even the people in the VIP room. Young Master Dakian was not disappointed. After all, the medicinal materials needed to refine the baby pill are difficult to obtain. It's not like you are a god-level alchemist and can refine the birth pill. Such an elixir is not necessary, and even a god-level alchemist cannot easily refine it. Because the birth infant pill is needed by those who have damaged yin and yang, and those who can use the birth infant pill must not be people with low cultivation level. After all, in the high continent, only by breaking through the emperor level can one condense the essence. The baby is coming. Therefore, those who need the infant birth pill must at least be above the emperor level. Whose nascent soul in the Dacian family was injured? Are you still injured and need a baby pill to help you recover? Xianxia understood at this time that Dacian auction house had no intention of auctioning the earth-type 5 elements pearl today. Instead, it used this method to prove the authenticity of the 5 elements pearl. The ultimate goal was to let the family with a god-level alchemist believe that the 5 elements pearl is real, and then be willing to exchange it for the baby pill. After a while, young Master Dacian sighed and said, "It seems that it is impossible to exchange the 5 elements pearl today. The Dacian family is waiting for the destined person in the southern continent." After finishing speaking, young Master Dacian turned around and walked down the stage. The 6 people followed him, and the 7 figures disappeared before the beautiful auctioneer walked to the table and said, "Today's auction ends here." This is the end? Those thoughtful people were stunned. They were all prepared to the 5 elements beads, but all their efforts were in vain. No one got the 5 elements beads. The 5 elements beads are still in the hands of young Master Dacian, but who dares to grab the 5 elements beads from young Master Dacian? Just ask, who dares? As soon as the beautiful auctioneer finished speaking, the door opened again. Xuanhuan immediately pulled Xianxia to his feet and was the first to leave Dacian auction house. Xuanhuan was fortunate at this time. The wooden seats they bought were so far back that it was easier for them to leave. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 283. Chapter 283 You Like Me. Xuanhuan took Xianxia and did not return to the rented yard, but walked towards the city gate as quickly as possible. Before everyone in Dacian auction house came out, the 2 of them had already left the city and left the control area of Xiyun city where flying in the air was not allowed. They immediately took off in the air and left. Xianxia was pulled by Xuanhuan all the way without resisting. The 2 of them landed in the woods where they rested before entering the city. "Do you have clothes of other colors?" Xuanhuan asked as soon as he landed. Xianxia shook her head, "Yes, but they are all men's clothing. She prepared it when she went to Lingquan's secret realm for convenience. Men's clothes are better, change into them quickly. Her appearance is so outstanding that anyone who has seen her will find it difficult to forget her appearance. The red dress is too eye-catching. If she wants to hide her identity, she must change the red dress to cover her original appearance." After Xuanhuan finished speaking, he turned his back and took out a set of black brocade robes to put on. Xianxia immediately understood what he meant. She flipped through it and took out a set of black men's clothes to put on. She also changed her shoes into men's boots. "I took off my bun and combed my hair in a manly style." But she didn't have a jade crown to stand her hair up, so she was going to tie it up with silk satin, when she saw Xuanhuan took out one of his jade crowns and stood her hair up. Xianxia blurted out, "You are really well prepared. I usually only see you wearing white clothes, and the jade crown is also white jade. I didn't expect you to have black ones." Xuanhuan glanced at her. "I often need to disguise myself, so I have clothes of all colors, styles, and levels for people of all levels." Xianxia looked at him in surprise for a while, and then sighed, "It's not easy for you either." Xuanhuan laughed and said, How can anyone have an easy life? No matter what level people live at, they will always have troubles. Even if they are the most powerful and wealthy people in the world, they still have their troubles. It makes sense the emperor of Tianqian continent is not worried about anyone taking his throne. Yuan Xiongluo nodded in agreement with his words. Speaking of the emperor, Yan Xiongluo asked curiously, can I know what happened to Emperor Tianshun? They have all left the Tianqian continent, and the Tianshun Empire has nothing to do with them. It shouldn't be rude to ask now. Ji Zhong glanced at her. This girl must have been curious all the time. It was already very bearable for her to not ask herself until now. Ji Zhong took out the face-changing Xuanhuan and changed the appearance of the two of them. Although they were both good-looking, they were much inferior to their original appearances. The two of them were not in a hurry to leave, so they found a place to sit down. Ji Zhong told Yan Xiongluo what he had done to the emperor of Tianshun Empire. He always thought that my father was partial to me and that I was the biggest threat to his throne. In fact, he didn't know that my father never wanted to pass the throne to me, and I never wanted to be the emperor of the Tianshun Empire. From me after awakening the Ji family bloodline, I had only one purpose from the beginning to the end, which was to come to the higher continent. But my father told me that he didn't believe it. Later, my father passed away and the throne was passed to him. I also made it clear that he would. I still don't believe it. I was demoted to the most barren place and given the title of Prince Li. I think it doesn't matter if this can reassure him. The palace is not as comfortable as Prince Li's mansion for me. Ji Zhong's eyes were filled with memories. However, as I grew up, he was still worried. Every year he sent countless people to assassinate me. I suspected that the Tianshun Empire was getting worse and worse in his hands just because he put all his thoughts into it. It was against me. I still endured it. After all, I didn't know how long I could live at that time. However, at the age of 16, he actually granted me a marriage, but he still lost all his blessings and was rumored to have lost his 5 spiritual roots. A talented 10-year-old girl, this is an insult to me. Since he has no bottom line, I decided not to tolerate it anymore. Since he cares so much about the throne, I will let him lie down every day. Enjoy it on the dragon bed. It just so happened that his sons also coveted the throne. I took the opportunity to get rid of all the ineffective ones. I was not the emperor, so I became the regent. At the same time, I also started to train the next one. Emperor, you should know what happened next. Ji Zhong shrugged and looked at Yan Xiongluo, who was sitting side by side with him. Although the little girl's appearance had changed, her penetrating eyes had not changed. Alas, you are quite pitiful. Yan Xiongluo looked at him with pity. Aren't you angry with me? Ji Zhong asked curiously. Why are you angry with you? Yan Xiongluo asked, blinking her long eyelashes in confusion. I'm not satisfied with the engagement with you. Ji Zhong opened the matter directly. It was also because of this incident that he couldn't bear it anymore. Everyone could see that he was not satisfied with the marriage. If he's not satisfied with the marriage, he doesn't dislike her. In fact, he doesn't really dislike her, he's just dissatisfied with the emperor's actions. But the world doesn't know that and only looks at things superficially. Yan Xiongluo was stunned for a moment, but she forgot that the person he said was engaged was her. She said in a panic, I would have forgotten if you didn't tell me, the person you are engaged to is me. Ji Zhong looked at her speechlessly. Did he have such no sense of existence in her heart? Actually, there is nothing to be angry about. After all, my reputation in the imperial city of Tianshun Empire is indeed very bad. If I were you, I would feel insulted. Although I have been bullied a lot because of my reputation as your fiancé, but, also, because of this name, I was protected for 3 years, until someone couldn't bear it anymore. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to survive. I broke off your engagement in front of everyone, and used you to break off my concubine. The relationship between the two families is considered even. Xuanhuan didn't expect that she would be so broad-minded. If this happened to any girl, she would hate him for the rest of her life. She actually said it was even. Even though I felt very sorry for her, she actually didn't feel aggrieved at all. What kind of woman was she? Do you hate me? Xuanhuan asked after thinking for a while. Actually, he wanted to ask if she would be willing to get engaged again. He didn't dare to ask so directly, so he asked a related question in a roundabout way. Xianxia said without even thinking, I don't hate it. She felt that there was only one kind of person like Xuanhuan who would hate him, and that was someone who couldn't compare with him or was inferior to him. Xuanhuan felt like a bunch of fireworks were set off in his heart, his eyes lit up, and he blurted out, then do you like me? If he shrinks back at this time, he will not be a man. Xianxia was about to say that she liked her, but she suddenly realized something and turned to look at Xuanhuan, just in time to catch his gentle gaze. Xianxia suddenly realized something, bit her lower lip hesitantly and asked, do you like me? End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 284. Chapter 284 I can't understand. Xuanhuan didn't expect that she would ask back, but he also realized that she had finally figured it out, and he was both happy and nervous at the same time. I like it, Xuanhuan answered her solemnly. There was a bang in Xianxia's mind, as if something exploded. She opened her mouth in surprise. Xuanhuan actually liked herself? It took her a while to come back to her senses. How much do you like it? Xuanhuan set off fireworks in his heart when he saw that she was not angry. I like her very much, so much that I am willing to give up my original plan for you again and again. Although Xianxia has never been in love, there is no love story in any of the novels she has read. There are all kinds of sad, happy, and sadistic stories. From her perspective, no matter what the situation is, shouldn't a man's confession to a woman be like this? How much do you like it? Did he abandon his plan for himself? How come he didn't know it? At this time, Xianxia asked herself in her heart, does she like Xuanhuan? After thinking for a while, she didn't understand. She seemed to like her, but it seemed that this kind of liking was not the same as Xuanhuan liked her. But if she said she didn't like her, she felt very uncomfortable. She had never been in love or liked her. Xianxia, who had a boy, was worried. She couldn't figure out whether she liked Xuanhuan or not. What about you, do you like me? Xuanhuan asked. Since you have asked all the questions, you naturally want to get the answer. Although the smart Xuanhuan had realized that Xianxia might not like him yet when Xianxia didn't answer his question immediately, his failure to immediately deny it also meant that she probably didn't know whether she liked him or not. Even if the answer is no, he will not give up. The girl is still young and her love has not yet developed. He can afford to wait, so he will not miss the opportunity now. Xianxia said matter-of-factly, I don't know. Then he spread his hands apologetically and explained, I really don't know, I can't figure it out. Xuanhuan smiled. It was the first time that Xianxia saw such a bright smile on his face. It was a pity that it was not his original face, otherwise it would have been extremely beautiful. I was like this at the beginning, and then I realized that I liked you. Maybe on the day we first met, when you were looking at me with a firm look in a messy look, and when you told me to break off the engagement in a decisive tone, falling in love with you. Xuanhuan was extremely happy. She didn't directly say she didn't like her, but she said she didn't know if it meant she liked her a little bit. But she didn't know what kind of feelings it was. As time goes by, she would definitely like herself in the future. You still have to work hard. Xianxia looked at the very happy Xuanhuan with some confusion. Thinking that he said that he liked her when she broke off the engagement with him, why was she still a little happy in her heart? After all, the self that appeared in front of him at that time was his complete self and his true self. Yan Xianglou did not reject this feeling, but she did not want to deceive Ji Kong. She told him seriously, "Actually, I don't want to get married. My goal is to go to Zhekongtian to see the evergreen trees that live as long as heaven and earth, to become a powerful person who can let me live freely." Ji Hong was not disappointed because of her words. Instead, he followed her words and said, "I thought this way before, but now I feel that if someone I like very much walks this road with me, I will be more willing to do so." Joy. Is there someone you would like to walk this road with? Yan Xianglou imagined it for a moment, and it seemed to be really good. The path of a strong man is destined to be lonely. I have never heard of a strong man reaching the pinnacle of cultivation with his partner. If it is possible not to be lonely, who would want to walk this road alone? But Yan Xianglou still doubted the feasibility of this matter. Do you think there will be a partner with whom we can reach the peak of cultivation? If one person must be sacrificed to fulfill another person on this road, what choice will he make? How would you choose? Human nature is selfish. Ji Hong thought about it seriously. Just because it didn't happen before doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. There have never been people in the Tianqian continent who came to the higher continent at our age. Aren't we here? This journey requires a lot of cultivation resources, and you may need to make choices and concessions again and again. How long can you endure it? Yan Xianglou asked again. Ji Hong was surprised that at such a young age, she could think so much and still be so calm. She really didn't like him. He just recognized his heart, liked her and wanted to be with her, but he really never thought about what he would do if he encountered the kind of problem she mentioned in the future. Although since he understood his own heart, he has always regarded her as the main one. People's hearts are not as old as they used to be, and experience will change a person. He was so smart that he was immediately stumped by her question. Ji Hong frowned and thought about her problem. He didn't speak for a long time. Yan Xianglou waited quietly. After calming down, she felt that she was not opposed to having a partner who could walk side by side with her, but there was a prerequisite, that is, they must have life-threatening trust in each other. Such trust cannot be achieved simply by liking someone. After a while, Ji Hong finally looked at her seriously, and Yan Xianglou was also a little nervous and wanted to hear his answer. Your question reminded me of a lot of problems I will face in the future. I thought about it very seriously. Although I don't know whether I will change in the future, but based on my qualitative understanding of myself, it is unlikely that I will change. Ji Hong's tone was very serious. When he spoke, he looked directly at her, and his eyes did not flicker, indicating that what he said at this time was true. What you said is just one of the things that will happen in the future. I thought about a lot and how to do it, but the final result made me discover a fact. Yan Xiangluo's heart ached when he heard this, and wanted to know what the facts he discovered were. In fact, the biggest test we encounter is life and death, and life and death are also the most testing of people's hearts. If only one of us can live, I will not choose to live alone, but I will not choose to let you live alone. Yan Xiangluo was surprised by his decision. What choice was this? Why did he make this choice? Shouldn't he say at this time that he will leave her a chance to live? Ji Hong knew from her look that she didn't understand why she chose this way, and continued, I can't watch you die in front of me, but equally, I won't allow other men to have you after I die. Yan Xiangluo raised her eyebrows, her expression a bit hard to explain. What theory is this? What kind of weirdo did he meet? Ji Hong said after explaining, am I very selfish? End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 285. Chapter 285. I don't want to lie to you. Yan Xiangluo didn't answer him. She felt that it didn't have much to do with selfishness. If she had to say there was a relationship, it was just a hint. Human nature is selfish, not to mention love. Does that scare you? But I don't want to lie to you. I just don't want to be separated from you, whether life or death. We have to go through the blue sky and the underworld together. Ji Zhong's tone was firm. Ji Zhong's words suddenly reminded Yan Xiangluo of the dream she had before getting the divine bead in the secret realm of Lingquan. The last wish the couple in the dream made under the evergreen tree was what Ji Zhong said. Is this so? The scene in the dream appeared clearly before Yan Xiangluo's eyes again. The man lowered his eyes and looked at the woman in his arms, his eyes full of affection and tenderness, and the woman responded to him with a bright smile. Life after life. Never leave, never give up. The two of them had finished speaking and their vows were fulfilled. In an instant, flowers fell from the evergreen tree and danced, forming a beautiful vortex of petals around the two of them. This scene, Yan Xiangluo felt that she would never forget it in her life. Although poignant, it is also touching. Yan Xiangluo didn't understand the love between them at the time, but now that Ji Zhong expressed the same feelings in front of her, she suddenly understood how deep the relationship between the couple was. It is a kind of love that goes with life and death. Life after life, we will never leave each other. Although there are only 8 words, it has already expressed their original intention to love each other and never regret it. Yan Xiangluo was feeling a little confused and excited at this time. Can she also have such a love? In fact, in her heart, her father and mother are the most beautiful form of love. Although she doesn't know what her father and mother have experienced, the fact that they can come to the higher continent together shows that they will never leave each other. In her heart, the love between her parents is no worse than the couple under the evergreen tree who promised to live forever. But now it was her turn, but she hesitated. Should she really believe that there is such a faithful love in this world? Are you sure you just like me? Yan Xiangluo suddenly thought of a question. Ji Zhong has always used the word like, but like is an emotion that can be felt in any relationship between people. However, love is more than just liking. Ji Zhong was stunned and thought about Yan Xiangluo's words repeatedly in his mind. Are you sure you just like me? Is not it? At this moment, Ji Zhong noticed someone approaching not far away. When he saw Yan Xiangluo looking in that direction, he knew that she had also noticed. The two looked at each other and sat there without moving, still talking, but the topic changed. Yan Xiangluo sighed, we are late. We must not be able to see the 5 elements pearl, and we don't know who took it away. Ji Zhong also sounded a little depressed. Anyway, even if we catch up with the auction, we can only take a look. As for who got it, we will know it soon. There is no airtight wall in this world. Even if others can't dig up the news, I don't know if I can dig it out. While the two were talking, 6 people came over. They were uniformly dressed and moved very quickly. Apparently they heard their conversation. They glanced at the two and asked, do you see these 2 good-looking people? There are men and women. The men are wearing white brocade robes embroidered with dark patterns, and the women are wearing bright red dresses. Yu Xiangluo's eyes paused. Who is looking for them? Ji Zhong knew it well, because Wu Ji had just sent the news back. In the room that was hostile to Yan Xiangluo before, it was the man who had taken a liking to Yan Xiangluo. Wu Ji also knew his identity. He was the most proud son of the late lord of the continent, and there was also a man named Ren among them. The person he didn't expect was Qin Suiwu. Ji Zhong had never seen Miao Chang'ai, so Wu Ji didn't know that there was someone from Tianqian continent in that room. Since the son of the lord of the late continent has fallen in love with Yan Xiangluo, he will naturally not be hostile to her. Then, the person who is hostile to her should be Qin Suiwu, who came to the higher continent through some unknown means. So the person who came to see them must be the son of the lord of the late continent. It is very likely that he knew their identity from Qin Sui and knew that they were from a lower continent, so he was not afraid of them and wanted to rob them immediately. Fortunately, he made preparations, left immediately, and decisively changed his appearance and clothes. From the two people you described, you will never forget them if you see them. We have never seen such two people along the way, Zhizhong said. Yan Xiangluo asked excitedly, did these two people take a picture of the 5 elements pearl? The 6 people looked at each other, ignored them and took off into the air, continuing to chase forward. Who are you, so rude? Yan Xiangluo muttered dissatisfiedly. Zhizhong advised her, forget it, everyone wants to get the 5 elements beads. It's normal for people to be anxious. The two of them didn't look at each other until they could no longer sense the breath of the 6 people. Yan Xiangluo cautiously asked via voice transmission, are the people who blocked the road this morning looking for us? She actually wanted to ask if that man was coming to arrest her, but thinking that Zhizhong had just expressed his feelings to her before, it seemed a bit inappropriate to ask, so she tactfully changed it to asking. Yes, he is the most proud son of the Lord of the Old Continent, and there is another person you didn't expect. He should be the person you sense is hostile to you. Zhizhong did not hide it, and also sent a message to her. Qin Sui is a ruthless and unscrupulous person, and she hates Yan Xiangluo deeply. He must tell her to take precautions. Who is it? Yan Xiangluo thought of Zhizhong sending out Wuji before, and knew that this had results. Qin Sui. Ah. She has come to the higher continent. How did she come? Yan Xiangluo was very surprised. Let's not talk about the Dangxuan Xian mark she gave Qin Sui. Even if she got the solution from Ling Quan, even with her talent, she would not have the strength of a person at this age to come to the mainland. She practiced evil skills. Zhizhong had long known that Qin Sui had fallen and how she practiced. But Yu Xiangluo was a little girl and he couldn't tell her. He could only describe it as evil skills. Yan Xiangluo shook her head, although Xiegong can make rapid progress for a while, it will inevitably be hindered in the future, and there will be no chance to reach the peak of cultivation in her lifetime. She has fallen like this. Zhizhong understood Qin Sui's approach. If she doesn't practice evil arts, she may not be able to reach the cultivation level to leave Tianqian continent in her life. Yu Xiangluo was dumbfounded. It is indeed true. Since he knows that he cannot achieve his goals through orthodox cultivation, it is normal for people like Qin Sui who are not very good in their own qualities to go astray. Be careful in the future. She can use any means. She should have leaked our identity, Zhizhong reminded Yu Xiangluo. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 286. Chapter 286 Kidnapping her away. Yan Xiangluo nodded, don't worry, I didn't know that she never succeeded in plotting against me, let alone now that I know her existence. This is not because she is arrogant, but because of her current ability, it is not easy for someone to plot against her. Those who want to plot against her had better use their actual cultivation strength to talk to her, otherwise other methods will be useless in front of her. She doesn't think Qin Sui, who used evil skills to come to the higher continent, has such strength. As for other methods, can Qin Sui compare with her? Poison, she uses poison more powerfully than you. Xuanhuan, her level of Xuanhuan is not comparable to that of ordinary people. Although Qin Sui can also use Xuanhuan, her level is still in the primary stage, and she does not have a very high talent. In addition, she is now practicing evil arts, so she may not be able to concentrate. When to practice Xuanhuan? She can break through the gentleman's formation that no one in the world can break. Who dares to compete with her in formation? Qin Sui knows nothing about formation. Moreover, she is also an alchemist. The most important thing is pills. Whether it is to restore spiritual power or heal injuries, she does not need to ask anyone. There is also Pangu space. Looking at it in detail, she has many abilities. Will she be afraid of Xianxia's schemes? Well, it seems that there is one thing that Xianxia has, but she does not, and that is doing things without a bottom line, such as relying on men. The man she is attached to now is still the young master of the Twilight Continent. Sigh, it seems like I really need to be more careful. Zhizhong knew that she had many methods and that she was not an arrogant person, so he didn't say anything more. Besides, he wouldn't let anyone plot against her unless he was around. At this time, what he was thinking was that the opportunity to express his love that he had finally found seemed to be gone. He still didn't know how she wanted to treat the relationship between the two next. But seeing that she acted like a normal person, it was not suitable to continue the previous topic. I sighed secretly. Well, it's not like I gained nothing at all. At least I know that she doesn't hate myself. This is a good sign. The rest will be done slowly. Bring it on. We cannot leave our residence in the Twilight Continent. Zhizhong thought that he had just offended the people at the peak of power in the Old Age continent. If they settled their residence here, they would really fall into their hands. That situation was not what he wanted. Yan Xiongluo nodded, but how do we go to other continents? Judging from what the old man said, people from the lower continents all settled in the Dusui continent, and they could just choose the city they liked. Can they settle in other continents? Zhizhong is worried that there is no way to kidnap Yan Xiongluo away. Isn't this a good opportunity now? Let's go to the border between the Dusui continent and the inland first, and then find a way to go inland. It should be more convenient to live in the inland than in any outer continent, Zhizhong said. Even if he doesn't know about the higher continent, he also knows that being an inland resident has a higher status than a resident of the outer continent. Today, he has seen several cases where inland people look down on people from the outer continent. Yan Xiongluo agrees with his point of view. The closer to the center of power, the better the treatment. She nodded. I don't know where my parents and master are. Instead of looking for them without any purpose, it's better to make a name for myself and let them come to me. Zhizhong smiled. Smart girl, we just came here to get it. There is not much news. Maybe your parents think so too, maybe we can hear news about them wherever we go. Ruan Xiongluo's eyes lit up. Yes, since her parents said they would wait for her here, they must be prepared for her to find them. Unless something unexpected happened to them, her father would not follow the normal thinking. People who leave will inevitably make it easier to find them. Then where are we going now? Yan Xiongluo asked. Although the goal is to reach the border between the mainland and the interior, the border is very long and there are not only one or two places that can be crossed. Which direction are they going to go? Zhizhong took out a map of Musui continent, and Yan Xiongluo asked in surprise, when did you buy a map? I didn't buy it. I bought it when I didn't know the news. I put it in it. It should be a gift from them, Zhizhong explained. He didn't lie. It was indeed included in the news. He picked up the first news booklet and put it away, thinking that it might be useful when he first arrived. Yan Xiongluo was speechless. Why didn't she see it? Zhizhong opened the map and pointed at a place and said, this is where the Lord of Musui continent lives, and it is also the most prosperous Musui city in Musui continent. Let's choose a customs clearance place that is farthest from Musui city. This one is the farthest. Yan Xiongluo pointed to a customs clearance tunnel. There are a total of 5 customs clearance points to the interior of Musui continent. The one that Yan Xiongluo pointed to is the farthest one from Musui city, and it is also the most remote one. Well, to get to this customs clearance area from Xiyun city, you have to go southwest. Zhizhong quickly found the location of Xiyun city where they were now, and then drew a straight line to mark all the towns he passed. So far Xianxia frowned. This was still a straight line distance, but it actually took 12 cities to get there. How far can your array be teleported? Xuanhuan asked. I haven't tried it yet. Xianxia took out the formation plate and handed it to him. Take a look, can you tell how far it is teleported? Although she is an array mage, formation discs are not something that you can see through only if you are an array mage. You must be a weapon refiner and an array master to make the formation discs. She didn't know if Xuanhuan was a weapon refiner, but she knew that he was very accomplished in formations. She had never competed, so she didn't know who was better between the two. Xuanhuan was very happy with her trust. He took the formation disc and studied it. After a while, he said, this formation disc of yours should be able to teleport up to 3,000 kilometers, which is about the distance between two cities in the Musui continent. If this extreme teleportation can only be used once a day. Xianxia did not doubt Xuanhuan's words. Although she had used the formation disc, she had never used it consecutively, and she had not been to such a far place. In other words, even if we use the array, it will take us 12 days to get there. Xuanhuan nodded and said, yes, but we can also think of other ways. It should take less than 12 days to arrive. Let's get out of here first, Xianxia said. Xuanhuan actually wanted to ask her who gave her this array, but she held back and didn't ask. Can I study this formation disc? Xuanhuan is a weapon refiner, but he has never refined such a formation disc. He has only refined sound transmission stones. This can be regarded as opening another door to his cultivation. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 287. Chapter 287. Why are you laughing? Okay, I'll leave it to you first, and then give it to me after you finish studying it, Xianxia said naturally. Xuanhuan nodded and said, when I finish the research, I will refine a formation disc for you that is higher than this level. Xianxia was not polite, that's necessary. She supports him so much, so why does she want him to have a battle array? Seeing that she was not polite to him at all, Xuanhuan was very happy. He input his spiritual power into the array, thinking about the next city, and the two of them disappeared. They didn't know that as soon as they left, Xianxia and her master passed by the woods where they were just now and went back to Musui City. The Lord of the Twilight Continent is named Lu, and his most talented son is named Lu Ju. The character Ju is composed of Wang and Yu. Only noble people will use this name. This shows how high the Lord of the Twilight Continent has high expectations for this son. Lu Ju was full of confidence, thinking that he would see the beauty he longed for when he returned to Musui City. He never thought that the person he sent out would not know his beauty, so he missed her. Xianxia was extremely proud. She thought that if the young master of the Twilight Continent wanted to find someone on his own territory, he would not be able to find someone. Where could Xianxia hide? People like them from the lower continents would not be able to escape at all. The hand of the old lord of the continent. This is also the difference between the Twilight Continent and other continents. Only their continent has a large number of people from lower continents, and only the Twilight Continent has the most special geniuses, many of whom are from lower continents. But they are also controlled by various families. Of course, the most people are still controlled by the Lord of the Late Continent. By this time, Xianxia and Xuanhuan had arrived at the next city, Yunqian City. Xianxia looked at Yunqian City and turned to ask Xuanhuan, should we go into the city to rest for a day or should we continue walking? Xuanhuan looked at Yunqian City Road and said, let's go into the city and have a look. There should be other modes of transportation. The two of them can also fly in the air, but that consumes too much spiritual energy. If they encounter any danger, if their spiritual energy is insufficient, their combat effectiveness will be insufficient, so he does not want to waste his spiritual energy on the road. And we can also go to the city to find out news about your parents and Master Jizhong said again. Yan Xiangluo was very touched that Jizhong still wanted to help her find her parents and master, and they came to the gate of Yunqian city. As expected, there is no need for an identity card, but the cost of entering the city is still 10 red crystal coins. It seems that this is the unified price for all people from mainland China to enter the city. It was not yet noon, so there were not many people entering the city, only a few people occasionally. The two of them paid the fee to enter the city and walked towards the city. They heard the man guarding the city gate muttering, "How beautiful is the woman you want to find? Why would you go to such great lengths to find her?" No, although the young master likes beauties, he has never found someone with such a big fanfare. Who is not even willing to have someone with the young master's status? It's not like he is playing hard to get and wants to be the young master's wife. Yan Xiangluo was speechless when she heard that. Jizhong had already told her that the master behind the people who blocked the road in the morning was the most proud son of the Lord of the late continent. She remembered that when she read the news, the most proud son of the Lord of the old Sui continent was the son's name is Luju. She just felt disgusted that a lustful man fell in love with her. Even though he was extremely talented, otherwise he wouldn't be able to be cultivated as the heir by the Twilight Lord of the continent. Jizhong saw that she looked very unhappy, so he quickly comforted her and said, "Don't think so much, as long as I'm here, even if he is the young master of the Twilight continent, he can't bully you." Yan Xiangluo has many tricks of her own, so she is naturally not afraid, but she just feels a little uncomfortable being cared about by such a person. But Jizhong's words still warmed her heart. It felt good to be treated tenderly. "I just feel disgusted," Yan Xiangluo said with disgust. Jizhong couldn't help laughing when he heard this, causing the pedestrians on the side to look at them. "Why are you laughing?" Yan Xiangluo felt a little embarrassed to be looked at. "Laughing? How can you express my feelings?" Jizhong said directly. Yu Xiangluo was speechless. He was not what Xiao was thinking about. Why was he disgusted? The slender finger pointed forward. "The carriage and horse carriage is the place you are looking for, isn't it?" Jizhong followed her finger and said, "Go and see what means of transportation are the fastest." The two of them entered the horse and carriage shop and were immediately greeted by a clerk. "You two gentlemen, what method of travel do you want to choose?" Jizhong looked at the carriage and horses and said, "The fastest one." The guy was stunned and immediately said, "You two gentlemen, are you kidding me? The fastest one is of course going to walk through the teleportation array." Teleportation array? The two of them realized that they had overlooked a very important thing. This is a high-level continent, not a low-level continent. The most expensive way to travel here is the teleportation array. It is expensive because a lot of spiritual stones are needed to activate the teleportation array, so the cost is very high. Don't we know how fast the teleportation array is? Now that we are here, we naturally say it is the fastest here, Yan Xiangluo said, very dissatisfied. The man smiled and said, "You are stupid. You two young masters, please don't be as knowledgeable as the younger ones. I will take you two to choose flying spiritual beasts. There happens to be the fastest black eagle that I haven't rented yet." Flying spirit beast? Although they read a lot of information about the higher continent, it was all stuffed into their minds at once. When they were using it, they sometimes made some mistakes. There are no animal trainers in the lower continents, but there are some here. The spiritual beasts trained by the animal trainers can be used for two purposes. One is for contracting with others, and the other is used as flying tools. Following the boy to the backyard of the carriage house, the two of them saw the black eagle, which the boy said was the fastest flying. The jet black feathers are really like ink, the black eyes look very sharp, and the body is very large. If the wings are unfolded, they will be 10 meters long. Sitting on it, you feel quite safe even when flying high in the sky. Jizhong felt very satisfied. but still asked Yan Xiangluo for her opinion, "Is it okay?" Yan Xiangluo nodded, "Okay." Seeing that she agreed, Ji Zhong asked Mo Ying how long it would take to fly to the next city. 6 hours, the man gestured. At 6 hours, Ji Zhong calculated that it was just noon and it would be midnight before flying to the next city. They couldn't enter the city either, so they planned to rent Moying and leave before the city gate closed in the evening. Now they would eat in Yunqian city first. Find someone for lunch, so the time is just right. But the rent was paid first to prevent Mo Ying from being rented out, and a reward was given to the clerk. Seeing that they were so generous, the man's attitude became even better, and he repeatedly said that he would wait for them here and feed Mo Ying until he was full. When the flying spirit beast is well fed, it will naturally reach its fastest speed. They asked the waiter which restaurant had the best food. The waiter said it was Xuanhuan restaurant. After asking for the general direction, they walked towards Xuanhuan restaurant. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 288. Chapter 288 Xuanhuan Restaurant. Xuanhuan Restaurant is located in the center of the main street. Not only is the location good, but the restaurant is also very luxurious. At first glance, it looks like a place where only wealthy people come to spend money. Hence, the waiters in the restaurant have also developed a keen eye. With just one glance, they can tell whether a person is really rich or is pretending to be generous. Although Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhong were dressed in ordinary clothes, their temperament was different from ordinary people. Therefore, the waiters in the restaurant did not have any bad attitude because of their ordinary clothes. On the contrary, they were even more enthusiastic. They have seen too many children of big families pretending to be ordinary people and coming out to practice. However, the background and upbringing of a large family cannot be concealed by clothing. Just like the two young masters in front of them, no matter how ordinary they cannot conceal the nobility emanating from their bones. "You two gentlemen, please come in." The waiter made a respectful gesture of invitation. After the two of them entered the restaurant, the waiter asked, "Do you two gentlemen want to sit in the clean private room upstairs or in the lively lobby?" This question makes people feel very comfortable. No matter you choose a private room or the lobby, you feel that you have not lost your status, because as people said, if you like peace and quiet, go to the private room, and if you like liveliness, stay in the lobby. There is no intention of looking down on the guests. Xuanhuan restaurant gave Yan Xiangluo a very good first impression. The guys are also good at talking, obviously the master has taught them well. No wonder business can spread across the entire continent. Ji Zhong asked Yan Xiangluo, "Where do you want to eat?" Yan Xiangluo glanced at the lobby and said, "The lobby, it's lively here." It is lively when there are many people, and you can hear a lot of useful news in a lively place. The two decided to sit in the lobby to eat. The waiter was more certain that the two were descendants of a big family who came out to gain experience, and his attitude became more respectful. Such people are often the ones who are the focus of training in the family, and their status in the family will not be low in the future. The waiter led the two of them to a table by the window. The position was just right so that they would not be disturbed but could hear people talking in the lobby and could also see the scene on the street outside. Both of them were very satisfied. Ji Zhong didn't ask specifically what dishes were available, and just asked the waiter to bring 6 of the restaurant's best signature dishes. As he ordered the 6 most expensive dishes in the restaurant without asking about the price, the waiter felt that he had underestimated the two of them. These two people are definitely not short of money. They were able to order the 2 most expensive dishes in their restaurant because their families were in excellent condition. They ordered 6 dishes without asking. You must know that these 6 dishes include almost all the dishes that the chefs in their restaurant are best at, and they are expensive. Although the man believed in his own vision, he was actually very uneasy and worried that he might have made a mistake. But no matter how uneasy he felt, he would not ask them if they could afford the meal. After all, no one dared to owe them money from Xianxia restaurant. He told the two of them that the meal would be ready in a quarter of an hour, and served them tea. Just retreated. There is a strong spiritual energy in the tea, and it is obviously not an ordinary tea. After taking a sip, Yan Xiangluo said to Ji Zhizhong, "It's inferior to your tea." Ji Zhizhong smiled, but he was not modest at all. "There are not many teas in the world that can match the richness of the spirit of my tea." People sitting at the table next to them turned to look at them when they heard the conversation between the two. Isn't it too arrogant? Although Xianxia restaurant's tea is not ranked first, it is still very famous throughout the continent. It is their family's unique spiritual tea and ranks among the top 5 famous teas. Many people who come to Xianxia restaurant for dinner have the ultimate goal of drinking tea here. Although the tea in Xianxia restaurant is free, it is because a meal here is expensive, so the tea provided by the restaurant is not available outside. They actually brazenly said that it was not as good as their tea. How strong is the aura of their tea? Are they from the top 4 famous tea families? They really want to see Ji Zhizhong's tea, but this is Xianxia restaurant, and they don't dare to act recklessly on their territory. Besides, if they are really members of the top 4 tea families, they can't afford to offend them. Hence, he just looked at the two of them and turned his head to continue eating. Although the tea at Xianxia restaurant is free, it is only a free pot of tea. No matter how many people you have, you can refill the water but not the tea. After all, the cost is not much different for 2 people to eat than for a large table. It was just right for Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong to drink a pot of tea. The tea was almost finished and the food was served. The people at the next table had heard them ordering the restaurant's 6 signature dishes before, and now they were all greedy when they saw the dishes being served. You must know that each of these dishes contains rich spiritual energy, and the taste is outstanding. This is also the main reason why Xianxia restaurant can be opened all over the mainland. They only ordered 2 signature dishes for a large table, and 2 of them ordered 6 signature dishes. In other words, the dishes they ate were several times more expensive than the dishes they ate for a large table. Ji Zhizhong first gave Yan Xiangluo a piece of vegetables and put it on her plate. "If you try it, can you still eat it?" The people sitting next to him twitched when they heard what he said. He actually said that if he tasted the food from Xianxia restaurant, he could still eat it. If the food from Xianxia restaurant couldn't be eaten, what would they usually eat? Yan Xiangluo took a sip and nodded, "It's okay." The corners of the mouth of the person sitting next to him twitched even more. It was okay. They couldn't be faking it. 6 of the signature dishes, which are also the best dishes of the chef of Xianxia restaurant, he actually said it was okay. Ji Zhizhong also took a bite and responded, "It's not as delicious as yours." The people sitting next to him all looked at the two of them strangely, and their eyes fell on Yan Xiangluo. This guy's cooking skills were actually better than the chef at Xianxia restaurant. He didn't look like a cook no matter how he looked at it. Could it be that he just loved cooking? They also paid attention to a room in the private room upstairs. A young man wearing a light blue brocade robe and a flowing white gauze jacket was holding a wine glass and looking down into the lobby from the window of the private room. He said to another man in the private room, "Finally someone dislikes you from Xianxia restaurant, the food doesn't taste good enough." The other man was Huo Jingbei, the young owner of Xianxia restaurant. He also heard someone downstairs tasting the tea and food in their restaurant. Looking down, his eyes fell on Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong, and his tone did not fluctuate at all. "This is normal. The world is so big that there are always various geniuses appearing. It is not a novelty that someone's cooking skills are better than those of our chefs at Xianxia restaurant. Xianxia restaurant can exist in the long term because it is only good and does not be the best. It is difficult to be at a high place, and good control is the way to survive. But if you dare to say it while sitting in Xianxia restaurant, It's very strange. The man played with the wine glass in his hand and looked at Jizhong and Yanxiang Luo meaningfully. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 289. Chapter 289. Let me give it a try. The two of them looked young, with extraordinary temperament, and their tone of voice was very calm. There was nothing arrogant or boastful about them. They seemed to be simply appreciating them. It is because of this that people are even more curious about their life experiences, and curious about what kind of family can cultivate such talents. Judging from their tone, it must be their first time to eat at Xianxia restaurant. Xianxia restaurant has been opened in almost every famous city in the entire continent. If they are really extraordinary, this is how well protected they are by their family. Not allowed to eat out? In their minds, the kid from a big family has never eaten at Xianxia restaurant. This is a status symbol. Huo Jingbei's eyes paused. Don't you say that the people in Yunzhang Palace are pure-hearted and careless about worldly affairs? You have been there for 3 years, why are you still gossiping like this? It means I haven't reached that level of cultivation yet. The man put down his wine glass and his tone was very calm, but some meaning could be heard. It seems that Yunzhang Palace is not easy to get along with. Huo Jingbei curled his lips and smiled. That's right, the man shrugged and continued. That's why I came to see you again. Tell me, how many spiritual stones are needed this time? Huo Jing said clearly. I don't want spiritual stones this time, the man said hesitantly. Huo Jingbei glanced at him and asked, have you eaten up your appetite? That's not true. This time he is really in trouble. If I can help him, it will be more effective than giving him any spiritual stones. You are all strong men above the god level cultivation level. I am a merchant family with nothing but a lot of money. I can only support you financially. What else do you think I can help you with? Huo Jingbai said very measuredly. I have no choice. You just have to do your best. If you can do it, I can reach a higher level in Yunzhang Palace and the promise I made can be realized. It doesn't matter if I can't do it. I will work hard for a few more years and look for other opportunities. Lu Xings, don't fool me with your words. Just tell me, what do you want? Huo Jing rolled his eyes at him. He was a brother who he had played with since childhood. He didn't understand him yet, so he wouldn't ask for anything unless he had to. Earth 5 element beads. Lu Xing still said what he wanted. Huo Jingbei's expression suddenly changed. Is his spiritual root earth-based? Huo Jingbei took a sip of wine and put down the glass. My old man also sent people to the Xiyun City auction. You should also have received the news. This time Daqian Auction House is auctioning the 5 elements pearl and does not want spiritual stones and other treasures. Lu Xings nodded. I know, they only use god-level baby pills in exchange. Huo Jingbei saw that he knew and came to him to find a solution. There must be a place for him in Yunzhang Palace this time. He frowned and said, there is only one way to get the earth element 5 elements pearl, which is to get the god-level baby pill. There are 5 god-level alchemists in the mainland, but our Huo family doesn't have one. Lu Xings thought for a while and then said, don't you know young Master Daqian? Can you ask for other things? That person has a 20,000-year-old 9-turn fairy grass in his hand, which is also helpful in repairing the nascent soul. When Huo Jingbei heard that the 9-turn immortal spirit grass was 20,000 years old, he thought for a while and said, only those who have damaged Yuan Ying need the life birth pill, and those who can use the life birth pill must not be. What about people with low cultivation level? After all, in the high continent, only by breaking through the emperor level can one condense the nascent soul. The earth element 5 elements pearl should have been in the hands of the Daqian family for a long time. If you take it out now, I guess it is Yuan Ying, an important disciple of Daqian. The baby is damaged, and if it wasn't a god-level baby pill, I don't think they would agree to the exchange. Lu Xing sighed, I understand, but this is a good time for me to be promoted. I have to try. Huo Jingbei was helpless, I'll give it a try, don't have too much hope, they are both big families. Although the Huo family makes a living by doing business, because there is no shortage of money, the talented children in the family can do it. He was fully cultivated, so he knew how important a talented child in the family was. He felt that only the core members of the family were qualified to allow the Daqian family to exchange heaven and earth spiritual objects such as earth-type 5-element beads. Lu Xing also knew that his friends would try their best to help him. He also knew that the hope was slim, but he had to try. Okay, if you have any news, tell me, I'll go meet the two people below. Lu Xing curled his lips and said. Huo Jingbei reminded him, you'd better restrain yourself. Who knows who is standing behind them? Changjiun restaurant cannot be closed down by them with just a few words. Lu Xing waved his hands and said, you are overthinking. I am not looking for trouble with them, I am just a little curious. I feel the aura of Xuanhuan on them. Their current appearance should not be their original appearance. Huo Jingbei stood up after hearing the words, stood at the window and looked down. His cultivation had not yet broken through to the level, and he could not see the mysterious aura of Yan Xiangloo and Ji Zhozhong on their bodies. However, Lu Xing had a level cultivation, and he actually, if you say you can sense the mysterious aura, then you must have it. The level of the mysterious pattern is not low, at least I can only sense the aura of the mysterious pattern, but I can't catch up to the level, Lu Xing added. Then you still want to provoke them? Huo Jingbei was speechless. Why couldn't his best friend change his temper? It's not about provoking, it's about making friends. Lu Xing found a very suitable reason for himself. I'm curious how you lived to be so old. Huo Jingbei twitched the corner of his mouth. Lu Xing chuckled, you raised me, didn't you? Lu Xing's parents died when he was 7 years old, and he was kicked out of the house by his uncle and uncle. He has always been helped by his good friend Huo Jingbei. Not only did he grow up safely, but he also received a lot of cultivation resources, which enabled him to achieve what he is today. To him, Huo Jingbei was really like a parent, even though he was only 2 years older than him. Huo Jingbei punched him, I don't have a son as old as you. It's a pity. How many people want me to be their son, but I still don't want to, Lu Xing said with a pitiful tone. Huo Jingbei gave him a pair of eyes, aren't you going to make friends with them? If you don't go to their house, you will finish your meal and leave. Lu Xing glanced at Yan Xiangloo and Ji Zhozhong. They were not about to finish eating. They had already put down their chopsticks. Hurriedly turned around and walked out of the private room, I'm leaving first. Huo Jingbei shook his head and asked someone to clear the table while he went to do his own thing. He happened to come to Yunqian City to inspect the restaurant today. Yan Xiangloo and Ji Zhozhong did not provoke the restaurant. They just said a few words. He was not so petty that he could not get into trouble with them. As for Lu Xing, he also knew that he wanted to help him check their identities and see if there was any disadvantage to the Huo family. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 290. Chapter 290. What identity? Because he helped him too much, Lu Xing always wanted to give him something in return. The promise he made before was also his own unilateral promise. He never wanted Lu Xing to give him anything in return, because he would not give him what he wanted. Yu Xiangloo and Ji Zhozhong were eating and listening. Although there was no important information, they also knew some gossip. Just when they were about to leave, a man wearing a light blue brocade robe and a flowing white coat came over and sat down between the two of them. Yan Xiangloo and Ji Zhozhong looked at each other, then looked at the man. Ji Zhozhong said, is there something wrong with this young master? Lu Xing's came into close contact with the two of them, and the Xuanhuan aura on their bodies became stronger. However, he did not tell the truth and said with a smile, "I just heard you two say that there is better tea than Xianxia restaurant. I prefer tea. Can you? I'm lucky enough to see it. It would be better if I could buy some. I can also exchange it for something. What do you think, gentlemen?" Yan Xianglou didn't expect that this person came for their tea. Zhizhong didn't think so in his heart. He was very sure that this person came to test them or something. Probably he wanted to judge their identity from the tea they brought out. It's a pity that even if his tea is taken out, no one can identify the origin of the tea. Judging from the clothes on this man, if he read correctly, he should be from some section he has no sense of level in cultivation. He should be higher than him by not a star. Would such a person be interested in their tea? Although his tea was indeed excellent, he didn't believe it at all. "We don't lack anything. The tea will not be sold or exchanged." Zhizhong refused directly. Lu Xing's was a little surprised that Zhizhong refused so simply. If he didn't give him face, couldn't they see that his status was extraordinary and his cultivation was much higher than him? While Lu Xing's was thinking about it, Zhizhong continued, "But if you like it, master, I can give you a box." Lu Xing's looked at Zhizhong playfully. This man was young and very experienced in his work. He didn't look like a fledgling boy. No matter which family he came from, such a person would not be an unknown person. How could he not know that? You must know that Yunzhang Palace has a ranking list of geniuses across the continent. Thank you very much. Lu Xing's looked at the tea leaves Zhizhong took out and was not polite. Picked up the tea box and looked at it. There was no obvious mark on the box, so nothing could be seen. However, it was made very delicately and the aura was not leaked at all. Either the box was well sealed or the tea leaves inside had no aura. Lu Xing's opened the box, and the rich spiritual energy filled the air along with the unique fragrance of tea. He winced and immediately closed the lid. Even though he moved quickly, the people around him could smell the aroma of tea and feel the rich aura of the tea leaves. Suddenly all the previous doubts were dispelled, and I understood in my heart that no wonder people felt that the tea from Xianxia restaurant was not as good as their own tea. There was no comparison at all. Lu Xing's was surprised. He thought he could know the other person's identity by seeing the tea leaves, but after actually seeing the tea leaves, he became even more confused. Confirmed that he had never seen this kind of tea before. Yunzhang Palace's tea can be said to be a collection of famous teas from the entire continent. Although he can't drink it due to his status, he can still see it. There is Ling Cha that is not even available in Yunzhang Palace. Where are these two people from? Young master is so generous, I'm a little embarrassed. I wonder what your surnames are. Can you give me a chance to treat you? Lu Xing started to use their last names again. Although what they said might not be their true surname if they deliberately concealed it, Lu Xing's actually asked with the intention of giving it a try. It's just a box of tea. Don't take it to heart, young master. If we meet by chance, we'll see each other again. After finishing his words, Zhizhong waved to the waiter who received them, meaning that they had finished eating and were paying the bill. The waiter naturally knew Lu Xing's. He glanced at him and saw that he didn't say anything, so he quoted the price of the meal. "Sir, there are 30 pieces of high-grade spiritual stones in total." The clerk quoted the price truthfully. Yuan Xianglou was a little surprised when she heard the price of the food. She knew that this meal would be expensive. After all, it was all spiritual energy ingredients and it was the signature dish of Xianxia restaurant, but she was still a little surprised that it was so expensive. No wonder the sworn brother gave himself so many spiritual stones as soon as he made a move. It turns out that the cost of higher continents is so high. If you are in trouble, you can support yourself by opening a restaurant with your own cooking skills. Zhizhong neatly took out 30 high-grade spiritual stones. The man put them back after looking at them. He was really rich. He took out so many high-grade spiritual stones without blinking an eye. And the quality of the spiritual stones he took out was not generally good. Xuanhuan said to Yan Xiangluo, "Don't you want to go shopping?" Yan Xiangluo immediately stood up and said, "Let's go." Xuanhuan nodded to Lu Xing's and left Changjian restaurant with Yan Xiangluo. Lu Xing's watched the two people leaving and disappeared outside the restaurant door, picked up the tea and went to find Huo Jingbei. As soon as he entered the room, he put the tea leaves in front of Huo Jingbei and said, "Take a look." Huo Jingbei glanced at him and said, "You came back so soon. This means you haven't established any friendship." He opened the box while speaking and was stunned. He quickly closed the lid and asked, "Is this their tea?" Lu Xing's nodded. Huo Jingbei stood up immediately, "Where are they? Are they still there?" Lu Xing spread his hands, "Let's go. It's useless for you to catch up. They don't need money. They don't sell tea and they don't exchange it. This is a gift for me. Sent." He knew very well how much this box of tea was worth. After all, his family was in business. How could he be so generous? Huo Jingbei calmed down. He really didn't take these two people seriously before, but now that he saw the tea leaves that Lu Xing's brought back and how generous they were, he realized that the identities of these two people might not be who he thought. Huo Jingbei looked at Lu Xing's, "What do you think they are?" Lu Xing said uncertainly, "I suspect it's someone from those families. There are several special families in the higher continent, and each family has special skills that are passed down from generation to generation. Although those families are now in decline, and some have even perished, that is just an appearance. How could a family with a magical bloodline perish so easily? I don't know when it will rise." Huo Jingbei thought the same way, and regretted that he had just missed the opportunity to make good friends with the two of them. "Look for opportunities to make friends with them," Huo Jingbei said decisively. Lu Xing's nodded and glanced at the tea leaves on the table. "Let's start with this box of tea leaves." This is also the main reason why he did not stalk Xuanhuan after he refused to reveal his name. End of this chapter.